Have you ever looked at a big project and felt overwhelmed? You're like, you don't know where to start. How are you supposed to tackle it? You got nothing. Maybe you find yourself procrastinating on important projects because the sheer scale of them seems too complex to manage. Maybe you're frustrated by your to-do list, knowing what you need to do, but not how to prioritize or sequence those tasks effectively. Y'all, if this is you, you have big old goals. You have a giant to-do list, but you aren't really sure how to break them down into manageable tasks. You aren't really sure how to sequence them in a way that will really get your momentum going. This episode's for you. I've been doing these really warm, fuzzy episodes and I love them, but this one is practical, it's tactical, and we're getting right down to business. We're going to be talking about how to master task breakdown. And in order to do that, how can you leverage AI tools like ChatGPT for efficient planning and goal setting? Super jazzed about this. We're going to get really practical, really tactical with 8 steps of things that you can do to use ChatGPT to plan. Let's do this. Do you want to feel less scattered and more focused, but the idea of goal setting sounds like adding more pressure to your already pressure-filled life? If so, welcome to the Plan Goal Plan podcast. I'm Danielle McGee. I'm a professor, mom, planner addict, and recovering overachiever. After years of hustle and grind, I was tired of trying harder. I was ready to try easier. At the intersection of research, practice, and play, I found a purposeful path to planning and goal setting that is fun, simple, and sustainable. If you're ready to try easier, if you're ready to make memories and do meaningful work, grab a pen. I will equip you with tools and practices to clarify purpose, reclaim time, and achieve goals, playfully and lightly. Let's get started. Hey, yo, before I jump into things, I just want to thank you all so much for listening, for reaching out, for being part of the community. I know that I've said this before, and I'll say it again because it's true. I am absolutely tickled every time that I get to interact with y'all. It is a joy. It is a blessing. It is an absolute honor to get to serve you in this capacity. I have met the most brilliant, beautiful souls because of this podcast, and I feel so grateful. If you're just tuning in for the first time, thank you. I'm so glad that you're here. I think that we're building a really beautiful community of high achieving women who are yearning to live a life that matters, that are yearning to move through life intentionally and with purpose. And I'm so glad that you're here. If you want to connect with other amazing women, we have a free Facebook community called Plan Goal Plan. I'll put the link in the show notes. Join that community. Shoot me an email. I like to hear from you. It just makes me so happy every time that I do. So today, we are talking ChatGPT. Can you use it to help you plan? You absolutely can. And it's an amazing tool for breaking down tasks, sequencing tasks, all sorts of things like that. I'm going to give you 8 different ideas for prompts that you can put into ChatGPT that's going to help you break things down. So I do time management coaching. I have a master class that's going on right now called Break Free from Busy. I also work with students. I'm a professor at a university, and I'm helping students all the time with huge projects. I love to work with graduate students on their master's theses, and, that's a huge project. And we're always trying to figure out, how do we break this down into manageable chunks? How do we keep the momentum going so that we can hit those deadlines? I also work with a lot of international students, Fulbright scholars, and, they're in a time crunch. Their visa runs out. Their scholarship runs out. So there's a lot at stake in terms of us making sure that we are meeting our deadlines. Now, at the same time, so many of my clients and so many of my students have ADHD or have other diagnoses that impact their executive functioning skills. So if you are listening and you are one of my neurospicy friends, you might know that breaking things down can be really challenging, especially the idea of prioritizing. Those of you with ADHD, you might find that all things seem important all at once. Learning how to prioritize is a skill, but there's also amazing tools that can help you out. And believe it or not, ChatGPT
is pretty darn good at helping you with this, but you have to know how to prompt it correctly. And so I'm going to work you through a few ways that I do think that you can use ChatGPT to engage in your planning and goal setting and do it in a way that is actually helpful. The first way to use ChatGPT to really help you plan and to plan in a way that really helps you balance your professional responsibilities in your family life is to first define your tasks clearly. You need to be specific about the tasks that you're tackling, whether it's family related, personal, or professional. So, for example, you might say, I want to organize a balanced weekly schedule that includes work, kids' activities, household chores, and some personal time. How could I break this down into manageable steps? So, you want to be as specific as possible. If you're like, hey, I really am working on making sure that I integrate exercise into my weekly schedule, you can tell ChatGPT, this is a priority for me right now. These are my top 3 goals this quarter. Can you make sure that as I organize my schedule, that I'm prioritizing those tasks? I work best at this time of the day. Make sure that you're putting my most important tasks during that time of the day. But you have to be really clear, and you need to make sure that you're defining the task clearly. The second thing that you should do when using ChatGPT to help you plan and set goals is to request a step-by-step breakdown. You can ask it to take a complex project and make it more approachable. For example, you could say, what are the steps for planning a nutritious meal plan for the week that is quick to prepare and kid-friendly? Ask it to give you those steps. The third thing that you may want to do is ask ChatGPT for any prerequisites. Are there things that you need to do before a task in order to be ready to do it? So knowing the order of tasks can really streamline your planning, especially when it comes to coordinating family activities. So you might ask it, can you outline the steps and prerequisites for enrolling my child in summer camp, including any deadlines that I should be aware of? One of the coolest things that ChatGPT can do for you is that you can ask it to give you time estimates. So people, especially people that are neurospicy, have executive functioning issues, time perception skills can be a challenge. You might really struggle at predicting how long a task is going to take. So what you can do is you can ask ChatGPT to create a time estimate for you. So you can say, for example, how much time should I allocate to each step of setting up my home office that's conducive to productivity, but it's also child friendly. You can have it not only break down each step, but you can ask it to estimate how much time each step could take. Now, it's not going to always be perfect and exactly right, but at least it's going to give you a ballpark. The fifth thing that you can ask ChatGPT for is any resources that might be needed. What resources or supplies do I need in organizing a fun and educational family outing? I like to ask it, what are all the resources that I need to be thinking about when planning a birthday party for my kiddo? What do I need to include? What are all the things that I should be thinking about packing when going on a vacation with a 6 and an 8-year-old? You can also ask ChatGPT for prioritization advice, right? So if you say, here are my goals for advancing my career. I also want to spend quality time with my family. And this is what I'm working on with personal development. Based on that, how do you think I should prioritize my weekly tasks? Explain in detail, almost like ChatGPT is a girlfriend of yours. And you're chatting with her and you're like, oh, I have to balance this and I have to balance this and I have to balance this. What do you think I should do first? Ask ChatGPT that. ChatGPT is also really great at creating templates or checklists. So we were talking earlier about what are the supplies that I need for a birthday party. You can also ask it, do you have a checklist for organizing a child's birthday party that's simple, memorable, and budget friendly? My final tip for using ChatGPT, to not shy away from asking follow-up questions. Ask it to clarify things for you. Ask it to give you more details. But don't be afraid to say, hey, I really like this part of the answer that you gave me, but I'm really struggling with this other part. Could you do it again? Or you might say, for the meal planning step, could you provide more details on preparing meals in advance to save time during the work week? Don't be afraid to use ChatGPT as your planning buddy. You don't have to go at this alone. we have these amazing resources. Right now in education, there's so much debate, so much concern around ChatGPT. What are the ethics of it? How should we be preparing students to use it or to not use it? And what I really like about ChatGPT though is things like breaking down tasks, ordering tasks, things like this, like planning. It is a wonderful tool for. And use your common sense. If something doesn't seem right to you, switch it around. You don't have to do exactly what ChatGPT tells you to. So I'm going to recap this really quick. All right. What are 8 tips for using ChatGPT to help you plan and set your goals? 1 is define a task clearly. 2 is to request a step-by-step breakdown. 3 is ask for any prerequisites. 4, request time estimates. 5, inquire about any resources that you might need. 6, ask for prioritization advice. 7, seek templates or checklists. And 8, clarify with follow-up questions. Friends, if you have a big project and you are feeling overwhelmed and you don't know where to start, turn to ChatGPT, use these 8 tips. If you find yourself procrastinating, break out of it by going to your buddy ChatGPT and asking it to brainstorm with you. If your to-do list is super long and you have no idea how to prioritize things, tell ChatGPT what your values are and then ask it to order your to-do list based on the values that you've mentioned. We are so lucky to live in the time that we live in, where there are all of these resources and tools at our disposal. I do think that we have a responsibility to use them ethically, thoughtfully, consciously. I'm always joking that I'm super nice to ChatGPT so that when the robots take over, I'm on their good side. But in reality, we really are creating it even as we are using it. So being thoughtful about how we communicate is an invitation for it to learn how to communicate in the way that we are. And that's kind of cool. A little scary, kind of cool when it comes to planning and goal setting. If you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling overwhelmed, use this tool. I hope that these 8 tips get you thinking. I hope that you can whip out your computer, pull up ChatGPT, and go to town. That maybe will unstuck you in a few places. It will give you that empowerment that you need to just move forward on a big project. Y'all, I so believe in the magic that we can make in this world. I believe that you have the capability to be bold at work, to do work that matters, and then to turn around, show up and be present for your kid, and to still have energy, to still have the ability to laugh. And so using tools like ChatGPT to make little parts of our days easier so that we have that energy to pay attention, to show up for our kids at home is such a beautiful thing. I wish for you efficient planning and goal setting. I wish for you the ability to master your task breakdown. And I wish for you well-being as you do so. Be well, friends.
If this podcast has inspired you, guided you, or just made you laugh, the number one way that you can thank me is by leaving a written review for the show over on Apple Podcast. I'm seriously tickled every time that I hear from you all, so pop onto Instagram and follow Plan Goal Plan and digital message me. I want to say hello. I want to geek out about all things planning and goal setting. Keep sensing the possibilities, y'all.